The smell of burned coffee lingered in the narrow break room, mixing with the hum of the vending machine and the flicker of an overworked fluorescent bulb. It was past 9, the store closing in 30 minutes, when Daniel pushed open the door, expecting to find it empty. Instead, he froze. There, slumped against the table, was a girl in a cheap store apron, her face buried in trembling hands. Wet streaks on her cheeks caught the harsh light, and beside her sat a duct-taped backpack, the straps fraying like they had held too many lifetimes already. Coins, pennies, dimes were scattered near a crumpled bus ticket, like she had been counting them before everything cracked. She didn't hear him at first. She was crying, the kind of cry people only let out when they think no one will ever walk in. Daniel almost backed out. He wasn't supposed to be here, not as himself. The world knew him as the CEO of a fast-growing retail chain, the kind with glossy stores and polished floors. But tonight, he wore plain jeans, a hoodie, and sneakers, playing the role of a new night shift trainee. No one here knew his name carried headlines. He had wanted to see his stores through unfiltered eyes. He hadn't expected this. The girl flinched when she finally noticed him. She wiped at her face with her sleeve, leaving smudges on her pale skin, forcing a brittle little smile like she could stitch her world back together in seconds. "Sorry," she whispered, voice catching. "Didn't think anyone, just needed a minute." Her apron tag reads Sophie. Daniel nodded slowly. "It's fine. Long day." He kept his tone casual, like small talk might hold her together. She gave a shrug that was half collapse. Her eyes were red, lashes clumped with tears. "You could say that." Silence stretched. He waited. People usually fill silences when it hurts too much. Finally, Sophie let out a jagged laugh that had no humor in it. "Guess it's obvious, huh? My kid's daycare called earlier. Fever, had to leave mid-shift. Boss docked my hours. Rent's due Friday." She shook her head, hair falling out of a messy bun, strands sticking to her damp cheeks. "There's nothing in the fridge but half a jar of peanut butter. And now, the bus pass is out. I was just trying to figure how to stretch $10 over 3 days." She wasn't dramatic about it. That made it worse. Just flat facts, like life had worn the edges off her panic. Daniel leaned against the doorframe, hands shoved in pockets. He didn't know what to say yet. She couldn't know who he was. Not now. Through the window, neon lights from the diner across the street blinked red and blue, painting the room in tired colors. Sophie stared at them like she was somewhere else entirely. At the 2-minute mark, tension sharpened when her phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it, then turned it face down without answering. He caught the glimpse. "Landlord." Her shoulders sank another inch. "You got family nearby?" he asked gently. Her laugh this time was smaller, almost soundless. "Just me and Lily. She's 3. Dad's gone. Mum, she drinks. So, yeah, it's us." The way she said us felt like a fortress built out of cardboard and sheer willpower. Daniel studied her, this girl with bitten nails, a thrift store coat hanging on the chair, shoes worn thin at the soles. Yet there was something striking about her, not in the neat, glossy way his world liked beauty, but in the way she straightened every few seconds, like pride kept shoving the weight off her back. "You ever think," Sophie murmured suddenly, voice shaking, "that you're one bill away from everything falling apart? Like you're running on duct tape and prayers, and the universe just keeps asking for rent?" She smiled without looking at him, like she didn't expect an answer. Something tightened in Daniel's chest. He wanted to tell her he could fix it all tonight, but that wasn't the point. He needed to understand first. She stood abruptly then, grabbing her backpack, stuffing coins inside. "Sorry, break's over." But her eyes were wet again, and when she opened the door, she nearly bumped into the assistant manager's slick hair, sharp tone, who snapped, "Sophie, customers waiting. Let's move." Daniel saw the way she swallowed whatever words she wanted to say, saw her wipe her eyes fast before walking out, shoulders squared. He stood there, pulse unsteady. He knew one thing: this wasn't over. Daniel didn't sleep that night. The image of Sophie counting coins under that harsh fluorescent light wouldn't leave him. Her daughter's name, Lily, echoed in his head like a quiet bell. He could picture a little girl curled on a thrift store couch in a dim apartment, an empty fridge door yawning open behind her, a single flickering bulb overhead. By morning, he made calls, discreet ones. He didn't want Sophie humiliated by public charity. He wanted her life stitched back together so quietly she could stand tall without feeling like a case study. But first, he had to see her again, still undercover. The next evening, he walked into the store as the shift changed. Sophie was at register 3, hair pulled back with a rubber band, face pale but steady. Her smile for customers was polite, automatic, but he saw the weariness pooling behind her eyes. And there, by her feet, was the duct-taped backpack again. Between customers, he leaned against her counter. "Hey, how's Lily?" For a second, her face softened. "Fever broke this morning. Neighbor watched her so I could come in." Then her smile thinned. "Still haven't figured the rent part, but one thing at a time, right?" He wanted to say not anymore, but instead he asked lightly, "How much is it, if you don't mind me asking?" She hesitated, hand pausing over the scanner. 800. Feels like 8 million right now. She gave a breathy laugh. "Why?" "Just curious," he said. When the assistant manager barked her name again, she sighed, pushed her hair back, and went back to scanning barcodes like nothing had been said. But Daniel already had a plan forming. At the 7-minute mark, tension snapped again when a customer in a designer coat snapped at Sophie for bagging too slowly. Daniel saw her flinch, apologized softly, cheeks reddening. Something about it hit him wrath. This girl carrying a universe on her shoulders, still absorbing the sting of strangers like she deserved it. He left without saying more. The next day, Sophie came home to find a plain envelope slid under her door. Inside, $800 in neat bills and a note with only 3 words scrawled in unfamiliar handwriting. "For you, breathe." She sat on the floor staring at it, hand over her mouth, shoulders shaking. Lily toddled over with a juice box, asking why Mummy was crying funny. Sophie hugged her so tight the child squealed. At work that night, whispers flew. Someone said the CEO himself was visiting tomorrow. Big news. Everyone speculated what he was like, if he'd be arrogant, if jobs were on the line. Sophie didn't care. She was still clutching that envelope in her mind, equal parts grateful and unsettled. Who would do that, and why? When the CEO finally arrived, the store buzzed. Sophie almost dropped her scanner when she saw him clean-cut now, tailored suit. The easy authority in his stride, unmistakable. Daniel, her trainee. She gaped as he addressed the staff, talking about company growth, future plans. Then his gaze found hers briefly, a glimmer of recognition there. After the meeting, he approached her quietly, away from curious eyes. "How's Lily?" he asked again, voice lower this time. Realization hit her slow, like light creeping into a room. Her lips parted, words tangling. "It was you." Daniel smiled faintly. "Some people just need a chance to breathe, that's all." She shook her head, eyes wet. I can't ever." "You don't owe me anything," he said. "Just promise me one thing. When you can, someday, help someone else breathe too." She looked at him a long moment, throat tight. Then she nodded. Weeks later, Sophie had more hours, a small but steady schedule, and Lily in a better daycare. The fridge held more than peanut butter now. She started keeping a jar on the counter labeled "for someone someday." A slow trickle of coins grew there, waiting for the moment another soul needed air. Because one stranger had noticed, one stranger had cared enough to change the ending, and Sophie promised herself she'd keep that chain alive. One act of quiet kindness at a time.